30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is I guess, beautiful Tuesday in Nashville. Weather's pretty darn good. We are in December, and so not bad. You're wondering about the coat and tie. I was involved in a funeral earlier and just didn't have time to change. However, it will give me the ability, I hadn't thought about this until we got on the air, to say to Kelly, this is how you need to dress in formal situations. But first, we say hello to Terry McCormick, his Daily Titans Update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely is possible. So dial her up, 615-969-4350. We say hello to Juan Soto's best new friend, Terry McCormick.
Let's hope so, George.
Yes, because if you have to
listen in on Aaron Boone, and he talked a little bit about that as much as he could. Obviously, Soto's still the property of the San Diego Padres, so he can't jump out there and just say, "Hey, this guy's our new left fielder" or anything like that. But I'd be okay with it.
Have you let Aaron know how passionate you are about your team?
No, I decided to act professional.
Really? Okay. That's good. I would like to have been out there. So I don't really know. Well, first of all, give me, are you thumbs up or thumbs down tomorrow?
Still don't know yet. They haven't sent the schedule out.
Okay.
They're still in a holding pattern.
Okay. Holding pattern. So is there anything really new to share that we didn't get into yesterday?
Not really yet. I think the thing that you look at with the Titans is that if you want to try to take a positive away from what happened out there on Sunday with all the disasters that was going on, I mean, this team played really hard for Mike Vrabel and his staff. I think that, that's certainly something that they'll try to hang their hat on going forward, even though they may not have much of a chance in Miami on Monday night, especially without Jeffrey Simmons and obviously with having to sign a punter who's not going to be nearly the weapon that Ryan Stonehouse is. And, that accompanied with all the other deficiencies that they have on the offensive line and whatnot. I think, the fact that he's still squeezing the most out of this team that he possibly can, or at least he did on Sunday, is a good sign that these guys haven't just thrown in the towel and said, forget it.
Terry, I think when you try to grade Vrabel, that is the single highest mark that he gets, is that his players play really hard for him. I'll be honest with you. Sunday sent a little bit of a lightning bolt through me. I have never seen, first of all, in all the years I've watched NFL football, I don't believe I have ever seen a team get back-to-back punts blocked. And the second one damn near got this punter killed. I mean, I've never seen anything. I am shocked at the level of incompetence that coaching staff displayed in the punt game. And it really has led me to ask the question, what kind of coaching staff do they have? Has he just hired a bunch of cronies? I always felt Downing didn't know what the hell he was doing as an offensive coordinator, and I think there are a lot of people that agree with that. And then I watched this Sunday, and I'm like, are you kidding?
Well, the special teams has been a problem for a long time. I think it was masked by the fact that they went out and they found this kid Stonehouse who could average 50 yards a punt. And then, up until Nick Folk arrived this year, the place kicking thing had been a revolving door ever since they released Ryan Suckup. The special teams unit has not been good for the last 6 or 7 years, actually, if you want to, look at it all the way through. It's been a long time since the Titans have been reliable at both kicker, punter, and in the return game. The return game has been a disaster at times this year, too, with the fumble punt, by Kyle Phillips right before halftime in that game in London against Baltimore, and their inability to settle on one guy to, hold down that position. I think and it's the thing of it is too, special teams errors and mistakes are glaring because one thing, they're only out there about 25% of the time on fourth downs and whatnot. And two, usually, when there's going to be a change of possession, that's a reward for your defense, getting off the field. And then when you go and you mess it up, or with your offense, the situation, obviously, once you're giving up the football, that's the one thing you want to be able to do cleanly is give up the football. And they weren't even able to do that on Sunday. So I'm like you, I'd never seen 2 punts in a row blocked. I'm not even sure at the high school level, much less at the NFL level. And it was inexcusable. And I think it forced Mike Vrabel's hand in this matter to let go of Craig Aukerman yesterday.
So, Terry, here's where I am maybe part fan, part journalist. I have been, for the most part, a Vrabel supporter. I've admired the fact that his teams play really hard for him. I admire some things about him that he sticks to his guns. But I'll be honest, he's starting to lose me.
Well, George, I think what you're going to find out, and I think that this is kind of where this franchise is right now. He inherited a pretty good ball club when he took over from Mike Mularkey, one that had won a playoff game. And he carried that success on over up until halfway through last year. Then they fell off a cliff and they haven't recovered. They're 4-15 in their last 19 games. That's unacceptable. That's completely off the charts bad. Among some of the worst teams in the league, like Carolina and Arizona, and actually where New England has fallen to this year. So to me, I think Amy Adams-Strunk and her firing of John Robinson, and yes, he has some culpability left over from the bad draft picks and all from the last 2 or 3 years. But I think Vrabel will get an opportunity to fix this. But if things haven't improved by this time next year, then I think you could be seriously looking at whether or not, his job would be in question.
Terry, we'll talk soon. Appreciate it as always. Go Braves.
All right. Go Yankees.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely can happen at 615-969-4350. Let's say hello to Mr. Positive, Kelly Holcomb, joining us from Murfreesboro. How are you?
Good, George. How you doing?
I'm good.
You looking dapper?
Yeah. I didn't really think about it before we came on. I didn't have time to go home. And so here it is. But at least you know that I'm capable of better if I have to.
I just want to know, does Billy smell mothballs?
No, not yet, at least.
Not yet.
That was
There's
a
no
good answer,
question
Billy.
There's no question that those were in a closet full of mothballs. There's no question.
That's pretty good. Billy,
Yep.
By the way, you had the right answer to say I'm not going there. George is my boss, and if I say yes, he'll can me. Do you have an update?
I do.
Is that in our future?
Yep. Did y'all watch the game last night?
Yes, I did.
I felt awful for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
What did they said anything? What's going on with him?
Yeah,
what did he do, Billy?
Suffered a right high ankle sprain.
Oh.
But he did escape further damage. Coach Peterson said they're going to evaluate him later in the week, and Peterson wouldn't completely rule out the possibility of him playing on Sunday. I don't really buy that.
Kelly, I'll rule it out for him.
Hey, high ankle sprain, you're not playing Sunday, Hall. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the same thing Pickett had earlier this week to accelerate the healing process. So he said
what? What was that word?
Accelerate?
Oh, okay. I didn't think that's what you said.
Well, because
I didn't think that's what he said either.
I don't think it's what he said.
Surgery. What did I say?
I don't know, but I don't.
It sounded like something from a marble mouth or something.
So that's the latest on Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
We've also got a decision in New York with the Giants. They're going to continue with Tommy DeVito as their starter for Monday night's game at MetLife against the Packers. They had a decision to make with Tyrod Taylor likely ready to return, but they're sticking with DeVito.
The kid's done okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's won a couple of games, and he's an undrafted rookie. And for him, I mean, it's going to be a big rest of the season for the Giants to see if they even want to keep him, especially next year. We'll see if Tyrod
the
Taylor.
bigger question is, do they want to keep Daniel Jones?
That's probably. Well, didn't they just give him a big old payday?
Well, okay. Let me ask this question:
Was it last year?
If you had the choice of Daniel Jones and Ryan Tannehill, Kelly, who would you go with? If you're the Giants and those are your two options for next year, what would you do?
That's a good question.
Seems like they're really equal.
Yeah, that's just from experience, I'd probably go Ryan Tannehill, but it's amazing that they paid Daniel Jones all that money and they wouldn't fork up any for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, what in the world?
Collusion. It's collusion, Billy.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten the C word.
You didn't forget.
Just like
Kelly, isn't this where you tell him we don't need your commentary, just do the update?
No, I'm just going to bust your chops again. Well, I didn't forget what I was going to say. We hadn't forgotten about that tie you got on either. That looks like your granddaddy's.
It's a damn good looking tie. Okay, I don't care if you like it or not.
Well, we'll see if New Mexico likes their new potential head coach. New Mexico is targeting Bronco Mendenhall, who coached at Virginia and BYU. He went to 11 straight bowls at BYU. He also led Virginia to the Orange Bowl. So
the AD at New Mexico has former Vanderbilt ties, Eddie Nunez.
Really?
Yep. See the things you don't know that you learn.
Yeah, he's not very professional. We've already talked about it. Well, where's Bronco Mendenhall been? Has he been in the protection, the
witness protection program?
So help me. He resigned at Virginia, didn't he?
Yeah.
They didn't fire him.
I think you're right. But
I think he resigned, yeah.
Well, maybe he got out on the reservation, Bronco.
Where's he been, though? He's been gone for a little bit, ain't he?
Couple 3 years.
He has a career record of 135 and 81 in 17 seasons. He was also a former New Mexico assistant in the late 90s and early 2000s. So
not a lot of people named Bronco out there.
Oh, no.
We'll see. They didn't do great this year. New Mexico did. So
no, but they've had a history of not doing great. That's not been when you say Bama, Penn State, Michigan, New Mexico doesn't come up a lot.
New Mexico's not a juggernaut, that's for sure.
Right.
No. Well, we had some NCAA news also. Charlie Baker, the president, proposed rule changes today that would allow Division I schools for the first time to pay their athletes in ways that are not tied to educational resources. So Baker shared the proposed changes in a letter today. He said if Division I schools choose to adopt the rules, they would be allowed to enter name, image, and likeness deals directly with their athletes. So right now, of course, it's the collectives. It's purely between collectives and student athletes. But the president has come out and said that schools now, that he basically wants schools to be able to give these kids money directly.
Right. So this guy is fairly new.
Yeah.
And he's walked in here knowing that it's a hated organization.
Mm-hmm.
That there are people out there who believe that they do everything in their power to screw people over. James Madison.
Yep.
I don't know. Look,
But
I
although
wish
they're going to play in a bowl, because the numbers wise they have.
Yeah, the numbers weren't down, so they get to play in a bowl this year, George.
But if the NCAA had their way, they probably.
Oh, absolutely.
They weren't going to.
My God, they've got 2 more years to sit and stew and do whatever the hell you do.
Stupid.
It is stupid. Let's look into the camera with my nice red tie. Stupid.
Oh, gosh. What
Do
year
you
was
have
that
anything
ball,
else?
Do we know? What year was that ball? What year was your tie ball?
Hold on. Let's see here. Peloponnesian War. Wow.
I guarantee you, if you wear it out to eat later on, you'll have mustard or something on it.
Wow. This is not what I'm looking for in a teammate.
The best part, Kelly, speaking of that, the best part of George's Hall of Fame induction speech was at the very beginning.
Oh, my God. It was a disaster.
First thing he says is, well, first off, dinner was a disaster. And I don't know if it was on your tie.
Okay,
or what.
the deal was that I had spilled something on the bottom of the tie. And so I was given instructions by my table to button the coat button. They'll never know. And then I thought, screw it. I'm just going to say what happened. You can't take me out anywhere.
Of all nights.
It really was. I mean, I was pretty gussied up. I had on a suit. Pretty nice tie,
I think I've got
if I
that
remember.
video. I need to clip that.
Well, the proper code etiquette, George, is when you stand up, you're supposed to button your coat. When you sit down, you unbutton your coat. So you weren't going with the proper etiquette, right. I assume.
This comes from a guy who's trying to mimic A.J. Hawk's wardrobe.
That's a good line.
And this is from somebody This is from somebody who's been steady more wearing some sweatshirts on the podcast here.
You've done.
I mean, you're wearing them every day. You finally had something presentable yesterday because somebody gave it to you, which I really dug that jacket. I wish I had me one. That was really nice. The waffle jacket. I like it. Yeah, you had no clue what that was.
Oh, I knew it was a better quality than anything I've got.
Sure.
Shall we go to the break? I'm tired of him already.
Well, I do want to mention one more thing.
Oh, Lord.
Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma is expected to land at Oregon. So wanted to throw that out there.
That's an interesting deal.
Yeah.
Let's see how many schools I can transfer to. Right. I mean, that's what this is becoming.
So JT Daniels' career is over because of concussions.
Medically retired.
And I don't mean to make fun of that, although he had been at 4 schools in 4 years.
Yeah.
So in this transfer portal float that I, am asking the Rose Bowl to put together, Dylan Gabriel will have a place on that float 3 in 3 years.
And maybe DJ ukulele.
He wants to.
Florida State and Louisville are the favorites for him.
Okay, we'll go to the break. Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville. He'll probably keel over in shock when he sees the coat and tie. Stay with us.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Anytime Tony Basilio is on this show, that's a good thing. Today he joins us by phone from Knoxville, and so he misses out on me wearing a coat and tie. Tony, how are you?
Well, the distinguished George Plaster, it's so nice to hang out with you for a few minutes.
Same here. So I'm going to throw one out there that you may know more about than I do, and I just want an opinion. It sounds like Tennessee defensive coordinator Tim Banks is going to be the new head coach at MTSU. Now, not 100% certain of that, but that's sort of the scuttlebutt. How will he do if indeed he gets this job?
You know, I don't know. It's a great question, George, because he's never been a head coach, obviously. I wrote in my blog yesterday. I wrote Friday on Twitter when I found out that he had 2 conversations with them last week. And it was funny. The Tennessee fan base, I got a bunch of praying hands. Please let this happen. We want Derek Mason. You know, George, at any of these jobs, that defensive coordinator in this modern era, except the guy in Iowa, is always going to be the most unpopular guy on the staff. The thing about Tim Banks that I will say that people who work around him say he's a pretty good guy, not a big ego guy, so that's good. He gets along well with others. That's certainly a plus. I don't know, George, that you would call him the greatest recruiter in the world. But then again, on these staffs, on these SEC staffs, there generally are people that will do that for you. You know, I guess he'll be okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought there for a while the hang up for MTSU was going to be, can we go with a guy that's not had head coaching experience? And apparently, what you're telling me, because I haven't heard this, but you're telling me they've gotten over that hurdle, huh? That's what you're hearing?
I don't know. I just know that people that I've talked to have said, zero in on this name. This looks like where they're going. Now, would it be the first time I've been wrong? Absolutely not. But I just wanted to get your opinion if indeed it comes down, what is Middle getting? Oh, look at Kelly.
Kelly wants to chime in here.
George, I have heard through the grapevine that he turned it down.
Really? Okay.
I did.
New news.
I don't know if that's true either. I just heard that I heard from a source that he had turned the job down.
He wants to make Tony Basilio and these Tennessee fans happy by coming back.
Wow. Okay.
Well, now, I don't know if that's true. I mean, everything is speculation right now. Y'all all know that, but I did hear from a pretty good source that he had turned it down. Now, whether that's true, I don't know. And whether he changed his mind, I don't know that either.
Well, if a highly decorated NFL quarterback, who played there, obviously still cares about the school, I'm sure you got your sources. The thing that's real interesting is at the end of last week, he didn't feel like he was in a great chance to get it, though I know he was highly interested then. I know that they're going to go to like $1.5 million per year, which is kind of nuts, but that's the cost of doing business these days. And then the other thing that I knew is that I believe they had Walden ranked ahead of him on their pecking order, and when he went to UTEP, it seemed like that would kick a domino into play where you could end up seeing Banks in play to get the job there. So who knows?
Okay, let me share a theory with you, which will have you watch this, Kelly. This is NFL style. Come on,
Really?
Billy.
That was an awful throw.
Catch it.
That was awful.
No, it was not. It was right where it needed to be. So I got a theory, and I want to share it with you. I believe that part of the reason that the committee chose to not include Florida State and instead go with Alabama was the fear of what went on in last year's title game, where Georgia boat raced TCU and the second half ratings were not nearly as good as they could have been. I sort of wonder, did the committee maybe speak to the Disney people and say, you need to know where we are on this? And did Disney say, roll Tide?
Yeah, George, I think that's probably right. I mean, look, I had a caller yesterday say that when you have a champion of a league that goes undefeated in Power 5, and they have a win over an LSU team who's great offensively, and they completely stymied and shut them down middle of the third quarter on, and they went on and won all their games. I mean, look at last night's NFL game. Would you have thought the Cincinnati Bengals were going to go out there with a backup quarterback, go to Jacksonville for the first time 2011 and win a game with a guy that looked horrendous the last time out? I guess my point is this. If you put Alabama and put Florida State on a field and played next week, I know Vegas says that Alabama's probably a 10 to 13 point favorite, but I don't know, man. That Alabama team had to be very, very had to have wonderful, incredible fortune against Auburn to get to where they are. But, I say buckle up and get used to this, because the last couple of slots are going to be the most political appointments this side of the Supreme Court, George, annually in that deal. Because these leagues are going to fight, not only for the revenue, but for the prestige. And it's going to be Fox against ESPN. It might be Fox and NBC against ESPN. And they're also, it looks like in the early part of this playoff deal, they are going to share television rights, which means they're both going to want to fight for their respective leagues to get in. And this is what we've done to college football. I think that was pretty unjust what happened to Florida State, personally, George.
Can you imagine, Tony? So they gather, I'll make up a time, 11:30 Eastern time. They gather at Doak Campbell or some facility, and they're going to have lunch, and all of a sudden this comes on. Can you imagine what that was like down there?
No, and I don't know if you saw the video that's made at the rounds from Michigan, but when they were doing their deal, and up there, it's an hour earlier, so and they were eating, looked like a brunch kind of thing. And when Alabama came across that screen, there was an audible gasp in the crowd.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
It was a you-know-what in their punch bowl. And
no doubt about it.
I mean, it really speaks to how they all felt, because they're sitting there in their minds playing out, do we get Florida State? Okay, they mentally felt really good about that. Instead, they get Bama, which I know they had considered was a possibility. But you're right. I mean, those players told you everything that a committee needed to know about an eye test.
And look, if you're going to take the best 4 teams, like my partner Bino said yesterday, and he's right, why wouldn't you stick Alabama in that deal? That's what you're going to do now. If you're going to tell me, we're just going to arbitrarily, for our invitational, take the best 4 teams. You see, when you start projecting in football, that can be a fool's errand, Hey, who's to say you can't get that quarterback ready in a month, George? I mean, who is the committee to say that? I mean, my Eagles went and won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I realize that's professional sports, but Cardale Jones was Ohio State's 3rd-team quarterback, not 2nd, 3rd-team quarterback, and he went out and won a natty. And I'll remind the listener that he didn't do much since. I mean, he's like a king of the alphabet football leagues in the spring now. That's where you see Cardale Jones playing. So it was lightning in a bottle. It was a 1-game deal. And I just think it's a shame to take it away from Florida State, because I really do think that their defense is excellent.
Oh, their defense is plenty good enough. It's just it's a mess. And I'll be honest, Tony, I would not have wanted to have been on that committee. The minute Georgia lost, they're all in there going, crap, no matter what way we turn, we're going to catch it.
No doubt about it. And the thing I keep wondering, George, is what would have happened if Florida State's quarterback didn't get hurt and they even had to make a decision at the end between Texas and Alabama?
Ooh. I mean, you and I both believe that they would have to go Texas, that we played each other. The road team won by double digits. That has to account for something. But you've raised a really good point. Would they have gone there?
Well, who do you think Greg Sankey would have been pulling for behind closed doors? Because I'm with you. I think that has a high bearing on this deal.
Yep.
Would he have been pulling for his new member, but the check would have gone to the Big 12, or would he have been pulling for the folks who he worships, shops, and recreates around down there in Alabama? Let's scratch our heads on that one.
Wow. So we got Tony in midseason form there. Billy, what'd you have for him?
I was going to bring up, Tony, the Florida State deal, earlier. I guess it was before the season, when they basically said, screw the ACC. We are so much better than the ACC. The ACC doesn't deserve us. I think that came into effect here when the committee, kind of the path of least resistance. If FSU hadn't have thumbed their nose at the conference they're in, and they have the right to, but if they hadn't have done that, and then the alliance, stupid alliance wasn't formed, we might be talking about something different. Florida State, and I'm not blaming it on that, but I think that came into effect here.
That alliance thing, Billy, you talk about, but you're right. I mean, I don't know what those guys, the Magnificent Seven, those people called themselves, or the media was calling those teams. Apparently, they haven't looked at the performance of those teams on the field the last couple decades, but at any rate, the Magnificent Seven, okay, fine. Billy, the second point you hit on, The ACC was one of the chief architects of blocking the 12-team playoff to begin with. And ironically enough, the folks on the left coast whose conference fell into the sea. And so now, if they would have just not done that, they would have easily been in that playoff. And who knows who else. So this 12-team thing, guys, at the bottom of this thing, you wait till you see a 3-loss Notre Dame team jump in there ahead of a 2-loss conference team, because that will happen.
Oh,
when you talk about television ratings.
So, Kelly, we are in mid-season cynicism form.
I see. So with 12 teams, Tony, there's still going to be people that are going to be pissed off at the end because the 13th, 14th team.
I love it.
There's, everybody talks about that. Well, it's all going to get fixed when you go to 12. Well, that's not the case.
Oh, no way, man. In fact, it's going to muddy the water that much more, because you wait till those arguments start. Because if you grab the ratings right now and you tell me there's a dime's worth of difference between team 11 and team 15. I mean, I don't want to determine that. You got to rank teams somewhere, but can you imagine the amount of, I mean, I don't want to say this, but I'll just say it, the amount of graft, the amount of bribery, the amount of promises, the amount of political stuff that's going to be done behind the scenes. I mean, it seems to me that this thing opens itself up to a ton of discussion. And look, in these parts, if Tennessee's sitting there and they have a worthy resume and they get left at home because a Big Ten team got leveraged in, or somebody else, or Notre Dame, let's say both teams are sitting there, Tennessee and Notre Dame both sitting there 10-2 at the end of the year. Similar resumes. Who goes? I mean, I know the score. You guys know the score.
So what we've obviously got the college playoff now. We've got the team set. I said yesterday that, they always talk about having the best 4 teams, but in my view, like if you have the best 4 teams, I know Florida State got left out, but in my view, and I just want to hear, I'm sure you got a different view, but I think that the best 4 teams were probably the 2 Big Ten teams and 2 SEC teams. I think
that's exactly right.
I think Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. I think those are the best 4 teams.
And the crazy thing is that Ohio State Michigan game is it's probably the best game played this football season.
Yeah.
I don't even know what would be second. I mean, let's think about that for a second. It's probably, just in terms of, if you were to take the sport, take it to another place and say, another country, you were to export it. Hey, look at this. That was a really great, had a little bit of everything in it, but a really great college football game, a well-played game between 2 very good teams. And the funny thing is, guys, Tennessee's gotten their assignment here locally in the bowl game, and all we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, they've got a pretty good home basketball game tonight. All we've been talking about the last couple of days is this transfer portal and what's going on there, and the madness, and then who on the current roster they've re-recruited back into the boat. Looks like they're going to keep 3/5 of their offensive line. Looks like John Campbell's going to come back along with Cooper Mays and Mincy, which is you couldn't have been better for the Vols. Couldn't have possibly been better. I guess Spraggins too, thinking out loud. Scratch what I said there. Let's insert Spraggins. But the fact is that the stuff I'm hearing right now with the teams trying to lure these guys into the portal and the kind of funds. I was thinking about, we were talking about this on the show today. I can't imagine what it's like to be a Vanderbilt football fan today, because they're being picked apart like a carcass.
Yeah.
And unless they decide that they're going to spend several $1 million on a payroll, how are you going to compete in this league? People are going to pick your players apart. Tennessee's got Juice Wells, the great wide receiver from South Carolina, visiting this weekend. I mean, teams in this league are treating each other's teams like they're farm teams, George. Well, how can that possibly be good for the sport?
Tony, before Billy talks again, let me just say it really hurt when I saw him enter the portal.
Billy?
I'm waiting on the offer, Tony.
Billy, I'll tell you this right now. We got to work on one of these side deals where before you go into that portal, you and I strike that deal. And then you put on there, hey, you put yourself on that do not call list so George and Kelly can't get to you. You come up here to Knoxville.
Tony, you did hear about what happened the other day, didn't you? Like Billy was he was out and something happened and we couldn't have the show. You did hear about that, right?
Flat tire.
That guy's got so much leverage on this; it's ridiculous.
Listen, hey, when a man has something happen, right? A mishap coming in, and there's no show. A man holds a lot of cards where I come from.
A lot of cards.
Tony, what I was going to say though is Tennessee. Obviously, I don't know what their budget is right now. I'm sure you have a better idea. I'm sure it's in the 15 to 20 range. I've heard Georgia is at about 20 million right now. But that could change, in kind of the middle tier teams. If say there's a school at a 10 million, where that keeps getting bumped up because a school like Georgia can come in and say, hey, we'll match what this school's offering you, or we'll give you even more. So when does it stop? Is there even any possibility of a salary cap ever coming in?
It's such a silly thing, right? I mean, there needs to be. If these guys were smart, which they're not, they would have a long time ago acknowledged these young guys as employees. They would have given them benefits. But now what they've done is they've created a system, which is a really insane system, whereby they're soaking the fans more now than ever on ticket schemes and on donation scheme. They're schemes. I mean, look, George, when you do business with the Predators or you do business in your city with the Titans, you know exactly what that ticket costs. They don't do the funny, fuzzy math thing they do in college.
Where you join the Tide Pride Club.
Yeah, exactly. And then after all that, how about this? After you pay exorbitant fees for your tickets, then we want you to pay for our payroll. How about if the Titans assess their fan base? Hey, you know what? We're going to sign a free agent out here, and we need everybody to pay into the deal with these collectives. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, I've got people in my university the AD here is making $2.2 million. I mean, huh? Like, if it means that much to you, you put your money in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, fans have to say, what have we done here? And then the other thing, I was talking with our mutual friend, Mark Griffin. 20 years from now, these kids that are playing at 2 and 3 schools, who do they watch on Saturday? Who's their alma mater? Do they have do they look like Kenny Chesney up on stage wearing a patch of every school? I mean, what's the solution here?
Oh, I love it.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Kelly, got time for one more. It's yours.
Well, I was just going to ask him what he thought, because I said last week that I thought Bo Nix was going to be the outright winner of the Heisman Trophy, and then he did not play so well. And he played okay, I guess. He had one interception. But who do you think is going to win the Heisman Trophy this year?
I would give it to the Penix kid, based on the way that he played in what was a huge football game. Maybe Connor Stallions. Maybe he gets honorable mention from what he's done at Michigan. But, I hear people talk about Jaden Daniels. To me, I'm more in favor of taking somebody. Look, that kid Penix went out there as a double-digit underdog. They got zero respect last week. Everybody thought Oregon was going to really put it on them. And that kid played really, really well. He took the Heisman Trophy away from the kid across from him. I mean, he played really well in a pressure football game, and he's kind of a great story. Kelly, I got to ask you, though, on the way out, do you want Tim Banks at middle?
Man, that's a tough question. Why you
Put
got to
the
ask me
old
that, Tony?
alum on the spot. I
Well,
love
I'm
it.
just kind of,
Well,
you know, I mean,
here's what
sort of
I
break it
said.
down on here.
Well, here's what I said. I'm hoping that it's a middle guy. I mean, I know that there's some middle guys. I know one that I've kind of promoted. I've talked to Massaro about it. I
Been
want
very
him to get the
tight-lipped
job,
about it.
obviously, because I just think it needs to be a middle guy. I think you get people back. I'm worried about that if you get a guy like him, and it doesn't have to be just Tim Banks. It's from anywhere that they're using middle as kind of a stepping stone. Where if you bring a middle guy back and he's successful, yeah, he's still going to have to field calls because he's probably trying to better himself. But I mean, there's a chance that he wants to stay at middle. You can make a good living here. You can win games here. Coach Donnelly showed that you could win games here. And you could raise a family here, and you don't have to go anywhere. So I hope it's a middle guy. I don't know anything about Tim Banks. I really don't. I've heard that that's what it was. I also heard something about Derek Mason being in the fold too today. So I don't know that. I just hope for myself that it's a former MTSU former player. That's just me.
Tony, before we end this, you have given me the blueprint for a great Saturday Night Live skit. The Heisman Trophy ceremony, in this august body of former winners, and all of a sudden you've got Bo Nix and you've got Penix, right, and the third one is Connor Stallions.
Well, it just kind of came to me. Billy was at, because what's funny about the Heisman Trophy, George? Back in the day, like, it's all we talked about, right?
Right.
And then somewhere along the way, it just kind of, like, they used to say it was the most coveted trophy in sports. And I don't know. I don't know what about it. Maybe there's just so much stuff coming at you now, at your windshield. But it's just so, why not give it to Connor Stallions? He stole the year this year. He stole the season.
Done more for his team than any player.
There is no doubt about it. And I just want to say to Kelly, Kelly, it really sounds like you are ready for the Banks era, man. I'll tell you this: I don't know if you're more ready for it. The Tennessee fans are really ready for the Tim Banks era at MTSU.
I'm sure they are, and that doesn't. And that's great with what you said. Yeah, that's great with what you said, Tony, because that doesn't make me feel any better. That's great because you don't know how good of a recruiter he is. I don't know how good of a recruiter the other one was, and we saw where that went. So,
well, one thing about me, you guys ask me a question, I will give you an answer. It might not be what you want to hear, but I will give you an answer, and for better or for worse. But, I just think it's interesting that they have $1.5 million a year to pay at a place like that. I bet stock's still sitting there going, man, that would have been. I wish I'd have known that.
He did okay. I promise you, he did fine, just fine.
So, as cynical as we've been today, and by the way, my Saturday Night Live idea is brilliant. How can they hear you, Tony? How can they get more of this cynicism?
Oh, yes. Well, I like to call it the wit and wisdom. But anyway, tclub.team is our website. I spent like 90 minutes last night on the phone with 3 different people going over all this transfer portal stuff. And we are 1.5 days into it. And I've only had like severe heart palpitations only twice in the last 24 hours. So, I mean, this is already on my last nerve.
Amazing. Thanks for doing this, as always.
Hey, thank you, guys. Have a great day. Thank you, guys.
If you listen to what you just listened to, is college athletics not totally out of whack?
It's a mess.
We will talk about it for a couple of minutes when we come back, and then Mark McGee will join us during the 3 o'clock hour to talk about the Preds, who are at least in the hunt as we get into December. Please stay with us.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Kelly, I've given this Saturday Night Live skit a lot of thought during the commercial, and I've come up with some things.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, who plays Chris Fowler in this deal?
Well, that would have to be you.
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
If you remember the year that Kyler Murray won it, they had a British guy get up there, and he announced that the winner of the trophy was Kyler Murray. We need to bring that guy back.
You like him?
The worst was I think it was an older lady for Johnny Manziel.
Right.
Johnny Manziel.
Right. Okay. Then I see Harbaugh as the presenter of the trophy to Connor. And then after Connor gets up and thanks all the little wannabe, spy wannabes that helped him, Then they go to a commercial at the Heisman house where Flutie starts peddling whatever that hormone thing is that he's peddling.
Placement. Eugenics.
I'm telling you, this has got
That's awesome.
all kinds of possibilities.
That's awesome.
I've got to admit that even in my warped sense of humor, this is hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
How do I get this to Saturday Night Live?
I don't know, but that is pretty funny. I like the new Heisman commercial too with Eddie George and Charles Woodson about him getting
the Wolverine.
That's one of the better ones.
Those Heisman commercials are really quite good.
They are. They really are.
They get some of them to open up in a way I never thought a lot of them would.
Yeah. You know, in all seriousness, when you listen to the interview, and Tony Basilio is brilliant. He is really good.
Yeah.
But you know what? We've got a messed up college athletics right now. It is badly messed up. And somebody, and I don't know if it's this Charlie Baker guy, the new guy at the NCAA. I don't know if that we need new justices on the Supreme Court or what it is we need. But this is messed up, and it's badly messed up. And you don't have to be, a rocket scientist to figure that out.
I just don't, with the transfer portal and the NIL stuff, I don't know how you don't keep a lot of bad feelings among teammates. Like if I've used this before, like if you're a center and you're playing really well and the guard that's next to you is making a bunch of money and you're not making
chicken wings.
That's right. I mean, you're getting like the BW3 chicken wings of the night, so, and he's getting paid a lot of money. Like I'm playing better than him and I can't get anything. Like what it creates so much animosity. It creates so much controversy inside. I don't know, man. Like, and I would like to know the percentage. I said this the other day. I'd like to know the percentages of the guys that are getting NIL deals, because not everybody on the team is getting like the $2 million a year. Like that's not happening, but for a few guys. So I don't know. But this transfer portal deal, I always say it. There was guys that transferred into middle when I was there, but that was just part of it. But like now, I mean, I used like Will Howard the other day, like the kid from Kansas State. Like, why is he why is Dylan Gabriel transferring like from Oklahoma? Like, is Oklahoma not good enough for you?
Well, here's what we don't know, Kelly, because there are some legitimate stories that come out of this stuff where a coach holds a grudge and the player mentally says, I'm never going to get a chance with this guy.
I can understand that, yes.
But the number, it is a staggering number. I'm waiting to see an announcement like, this is cynical, the entire Colorado State team is in the portal. Every last one of them.
Yeah. I mean, and Tony's right. I mean, when you look at Vanderbilt is getting left for carnage. Like people are coming in and just coming in and taking their kids. Like, how do you, like, it's got to be so disheartening for a coach to know that I put 2 years of my life in this young man and I've got him finally to the fundamental part of the game that I wanted him at, and he decides to go somewhere else. That's got to be so disheartening, so discouraging.
There aren't any good answers. I know we're late to the break before we go stat of the day and then to Mark McGee to talk Predators. But, man, something's got to give. Thanks for being with us.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family. And she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it's also, it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. You know, it has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Tuesday. It's now time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards out in Shelbyville. They're open Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what Matthew has cooked up for us today. After Sunday's game, Brock Purdy has the best odds to win the NFL MVP at plus 350. Who was the last 49ers player to win the MVP award?
Okay. You know, the easy thing to do, Kelly, is to give it a Joe Montana, a Jerry Rice, a Steve Young.
Right.
You know, one of those three. But I'm trying to ask myself, okay, was there somebody more recently, like when they made it to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago and lost to KC? That was Garoppolo, so I don't think it was him. I don't think it was any of them. You tell me. It's one of those three, isn't it?
I think it's got to be, don't you?
Yeah, and my gut feeling is it's Steve Young. Young was after Montana.
He was after Montana. That's right. I don't know if did Rice ever win the? I don't know. I think he won a Super Bowl MVP, but did he win an MVP for the year?
I say we go with Steve Young.
Okay, let's do it because I'm kind of with you.
Correct.
Oh yeah, nice.
Got a babe.
Oh my God, we got one.
It's been a pretty solid week.
The last time we got one was when?
I feel like y'all
we hadn't been too shabby here lately, George. We've been doing pretty good.
Okay.
You need to tell Matthew to ratchet it back up again.
Self-esteem.
No. Tell Matthew if he ratchets it back up again, I'm gonna hit him in the throat.
Wow. A lot of violence being threatened.
Yeah.
So we're now into the 3 o'clock hour, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I would assume Mark McGee will be joining us here in just a moment, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I want everybody to take a look at the standings right now in the Western Conference where the Predators are located. Every night when I go to a game, around the group that I'm in, I jokingly say, we're in a pennant race. Big game. Well, if you look, the 6-game winning streak got Nashville completely out of the dumper and at least got them into a position where you have to talk about it. Now, they're certainly not going to end up in anywhere in probably the first 4 positions. But, Guy, right now, they're 3 out of the 8th spot and the 7th spot, 6 out of the 6th spot. So they're at least in a pennant race.
You want to talk about them, but nobody else does. Nationally, nobody's even mentioning them when it comes to the playoffs right now.
Isn't it better that way?
I guess, in a way, the team that's really throwing a real monkey wrench in this whole thing is on the Coyotes. They're strong right now, and ironically, their goaltender, who's 11-3 with a .930 save percentage, is Connor Ingram. Remember him? That was put on waivers with the Predators a while back.
Oh, yeah.
Ago? Arizona picked him up,
and he's caught fire with them.
He has.
Which is also interesting, Guy, because if we're being really honest, the UC Saros, who was brilliant a year ago, I mean, absolutely stood on his head. He's been not awful, but not great either. And I kind of feel like there's coming a run where he will be.
Well, the Wild game was an embarrassment for him, I'm sure, with Kevin Lankinen having to come in that game, which was a debacle. And, of course, he sits out the Rangers game, and Lankinen plays a very good game against the Rangers, who are one of the top teams in the East and one of the top teams in the NHL. But Saros came back against Buffalo. Buffalo's no slouch team. And they're on the road. He comes back against them, gets 34 out of 35 saves, and stood on his head a couple times. He had a couple of highlight reel saves. So maybe that was the shimmer of him maybe coming back to what he was before. Hopefully that got him out of the slump. I thought it was real interesting that he came back so hard that he, after like I said, being blasted against the Wild and then sitting out against the Rangers, he didn't seem to let him down. He came out strong. Maybe it gave him a little bit of an incentive.
What do you make of them not starting him against the Rangers, who came into that game as the hottest hockey team going in the NHL? Was this Andrew Brunette sending a message to Saros?
Probably so. Andrew Brunette's been, I think that's one of the things about him. He seems to handle players in certain ways. And he's set Philip Tomasino a lot as the health scratch. He's done that with a couple other players as well. And Luke Shen's finding that out a little bit as he's trying to work his way back to defense after being injured. Brunette does a lot of experimenting. He's done a lot of experimenting with the lines, with the defense pairings, and so why not try it with the goalies? I mean, Lankinen has not been has played very well when he's been called on to play, and I think that maybe Saros has needed a little bit of a breather. I don't think I'd want not to necessarily have him come back against the Rangers, who, like I say, one of the hottest teams in the league, and so I know that was I think that probably was a chance to send him a message, but also give him a chance to kind of take a deep breath and, okay, I gotta reconsider my game.
Okay, let me get cynical here for a minute. If this team, because it's hard to figure where they're going. Man, when they were great during that 6-game stretch, they were really good. And then in between that's sort of been who knows. So if they were to
that's pretty much.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dawson. That's pretty much the way a lot of the teams are in the NHL this year. They're having streaks of good games and streak bad games. There's a lot of mediocrity out there right now as far as records go. You have some good teams that are struggling at 500, And the Predators are right at 500 tonight going into the Blackhawks game. But it's kind of, they're not untypical of the atypical of a lot of the teams in the league right now. You've got 4, 5, 6 teams that seems like they're dominating, but after that, it's like shuffle. Like with the Central Division, you look at it. I mean, you got Winnipeg, who was a question mark all of last season, and a question mark this year. They're playing. Whatever problems they had, they have figured them out. They're not drawing very well, and they've had, but they're those guys are rolling it out. Winnipeg's not exactly the place people want to play, but they're playing well. Like I said, the Coyotes have thrown everything into the situation, and I think the Wild struggled. I mean, John Hines, as new coach, is giving them a bump, just like when the Oilers got a new coach, they got a little bit of a bump. But how long does that bump continue? From that standpoint, people look at the Wild and go like, why have they played so poorly? And but with Hines, they played pretty well. I think it's just the new coach coming in and maybe players trying to impress him, try to set their situations in order. But now with the Predators, I mean, they're a young team, and Andrew Burnett's done a great job of getting these guys motivated, even in bad times. He doesn't let them get down, and that's important. And also, like I say, some experimenting. They're a much more fun team to watch. They move faster. They shoot more pucks. They outshot the Rangers considerably the other night, and so even though they lost the game, but their power play's not been what it was supposed to be because Burnett's a power play wizard, and that he has not been up to his wizardry with power play yet. But it's just hard to stay with a young team like this because injuries are causing some problems. Alexander Carrier's out. So Stastny's come back from Milwaukee as a defense. I don't think he'll be going back to Milwaukee. I think he stays in Nashville the rest of the year. And if he keeps playing like he did when he was here before. So there've been some roster situations to deal with. I think I think he's having to deal with a lot of that from that standpoint. So, but right now, it's up in the air for a lot of teams right now. So what's going to happen with them?
Okay,
So,
last thing on my end, and then I'll turn it over to Kelly. If this team gets to the trade deadline and they're really not in it, is this slow start of UC Saros is more likely to get him traded than, say, a year ago?
Oh, yes, especially with Askarov playing so well down in Milwaukee. Yeah, definitely so. I mean, Yaroslav Askarov is definitely the goaltender of the future for them, so he's going to be a star. Yeah, this makes Saros much more expendable in a trade situation. Right now, they got a situation with Tyson Berry, who's very unhappy with the way Andrew Burnett's using him or not using him, and he's requested to talk to other teams to find him a new place to play. And he was part of the Matthias Ekholm trade last year with the Oilers. And he's very unhappy with the way he's being handled in Nashville. So there are a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on right now. But yeah, I think with Saros right now, at trade deadline, if the team is not in the playoff hunt, I can see him being let go.
They're in Chicago tonight, Kelly, to play the Blackhawks at 7:30. And of course, go ahead, Guy. What was that? They're battling.
They're battling the San Jose Sharks, the worst team in the league right now.
Congratulations to them. Kelly, what do you got for Guy?
Well, Guy, I'm awfully novice at this. I feel very inadequate when I'm asking you questions, kind of like Danny Evans. But I heard you talk about the power play. Like, what's going on? Because I read an article on here talking about the power play and how it hadn't been as good as they wanted it to be. How do they get better, and what's going on with the power play? Because that's a huge deal in hockey.
Oh yeah, and that's Andrew Burnett's big thing. He's known for being able to put a good power play on the ice, and the Predators have been 1-4, 0-4. I mean, they've been real inconsistent on the power play, and I think it goes back to some of the experimentation they're doing. But the first unit should be scoring more goals than they're scoring. It's hard to really put a finger on why they're not doing it, because they've got shooters, they've got some good players on the power play unit, and it's just not falling in for them. I think eventually it will.
And I know that we're obviously we're talking about it, but the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know if you've kept up with them, but how is the Bedard dude, the guy, doing? I mean, he was a rookie. He's kind of the big name in the draft this past year. How has he played this year?
He's playing okay. He's playing good. He's not dominated the way a lot of people thought he would, but he's 18 years old. Connor Bedard's just 18, and that's pretty young for anything, especially in the NHL. But he's doing okay. What's really interesting that Luke Evangelista with the Predators is in the top 2 in points in the rookie chase right now. And he's probably the quietest Calder Cup possibility right now. It's Rookie of the Year because he's playing, I guess, in Nashville or whatever. But he's been the top 2 or 3 in points most of the season.
So, who's playing the best on the team right now? I see where Philip Forsberg is. He's got 28 goals on the year. I think O'Reilly's got 21. So my last question, like, who is the guy? Who is the guy right now playing the best for the Predators?
You mentioned him, Philip Forsberg. In that line, Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, and Nyquist. That's a solid front line. It took a while for Brunette to finally seal that group as the front line, as his first line, but they're producing and they're playing well together. They've got a little bit of a chemistry going now, and but Forsberg's right there at the top. O'Reilly is not too far back, and I thought that Evangelista's been playing really well. So they've got but Forsberg is carrying the team right now offensively, which he should.
George. Yep, I'm with you. Gee, good stuff. Let's get him a win tonight.
Oh, Brian Snicker said hello.
Well, you tell him I said hello, and truthfully, I'd love to meet the guy sometime. I'm a big fan.
He was the baseball meetings today. So
yeah,
I heard his conference. He says if he goes to spring training today, they're going to win the division and be back in the playoffs.
Well, let me ask you this: because we're going baseball winter meetings in a couple of minutes. What did he say about the trade they just got through making and what really is going to come out of this?
I did not hear about that part of it. I was in and out of that because Bob Melvin's on the other side, and I want to see what he was saying because he used to play for Sounds. I want to see Bob for a while.
Yeah.
I was back and forth with it. I'm not sure what he said there, but I did hear him say about he felt like the roster he has now is ready to go. So is Billy out the meetings?
No, Danny Evans. In fact, let's go ahead and put the picture up there. We'll do it again after the break. This is Danny Evans yesterday on the left with LA Dodger manager Dave Roberts, who by all accounts is one prince of a human being. I got to meet Dave Roberts yesterday, and I told him, I said, I'll just level with you. I'm not rooting for you. And we both got a good laugh out of that. Danny teaches a class of about 250 kids that want to break into the world of baseball. And so I've been around this group quite a bit the last 2 days. Man, Danny is the man, period.
He's going to have connections.
He is more wired than anybody I know in baseball. Gee, appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
I'm glad to do it. Thank you. Sounds good.
We'll come back and we'll talk about the baseball winter meetings, what is going on, or more like what ain't going on. Please hang with us.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
Breaking news. Lipscomb Academy has officially hired Jamie Graham. The former Whites Creek star, played at Vanderbilt, was an assistant under Trent Dilfer at Lipscomb. He was UAB's wide receivers coach under Trent Dilfer. And Jamie Graham is the new head coach at Lipscomb Academy. Congratulations to him.
Absolutely. And I hope the Trent Dilfer era is over.
I think that's kind of
George. Oh,
I mean, really.
George.
I mean, when he was there, the people at that school knew exactly
what he was doing.
What he was doing, and they wanted to win so bad.
Absolutely.
I've got a lot of respect for Lipscomb, but I lost a little bit of it during the Trent Dilfer era because it's not like they didn't know what he was up to.
They sold their soul, that's for sure, man. I mean, it's I used to tell people all the time. I mean, I played with Trent. Trent's a friend of mine. I know who he is, but like he was going to get them in trouble with all the things he was doing, and that came to pass. I mean, Kevin Mawai kind of fell on the sword for all that.
Feel bad for Kevin Mawai.
I feel very bad for Kevin.
Oh, he's an awesome dude too. He's an awesome guy too, man. I hate that happened because he was in a no-win situation.
Well, and now for Jamie Graham, he's walking. He hopefully he knows. I think he knows what he's walking into. But because of the Trent Dilfer era, anybody that follows, even after Mawai, hopefully,
Yeah.
I hope for their sake, they know what they're walking into.
Well, if they belch wrong, TSSAA is going to be watching them.
Oh, they're watching them like a hawk right now.
So, as a lot of the baseball winter meetings are going on right now out at Opryland. God bless you if you can find where it is you're going. Whew. Wow. Go left, go right.
Why do they have it there?
Crazy.
Well, I mean, it's a beautiful hotel.
Yeah.
It is a fabulous place. And around Christmas time, it's unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah.
But it is difficult to find where you're going if you don't know where you're going. Anyway, enough of that. It had been my belief several months ago that a lot of the whole Nashville MLB expansion would come out during these winter meetings because Oakland's been settled and it appears Tampa has been settled. I didn't see any evidence while I was out there that there was anything going on that involves all this stuff. I've been very outspoken about exactly what I think is going on. So let me state it all one more time. I don't believe for a minute that this group that calls itself MLB Nashville, the one that declared that our nickname is Stars and initially declared that our stadium would be next to the Titans and now is giving us this malarkey about it's going to be next to TSU. They don't have an owner. They have never had an owner. I'm told that Dave Stewart has pulled out of this. And so you're left with, okay, what is the deal for Nashville? Because the political climate ain't great. Now that we've committed $2 billion to a football dome stadium, it would be very hard for a new mayor to say, yep, and we'll pony up if MLB wants us. Locally, I have no proof of this. I still think locally the best shot is former Governor Haslam, who also is involved in ownership with the Preds. He hasn't told me that, Kelly. We do not travel in the same social circles.
Sure. That's what I was thinking, though, when you were talking about that. The only guy that I would think could do it or would be willing to do it would be Governor Haslam.
So what do I really think is going to go on? Number one, I'm still going with what friends of mine around MLB are telling me, that Nashville not only is in the mix, they're at the top of the list. I believe that. I want to believe it. It's the city I grew up in. I'm proud to be a Nashvilleian. I think it's a hell of a city. I'm not as wild about downtown as I used to be, but whatever. I think may happen, Kelly, is that when push comes to shove, that MLB may end up doing what the NHL did and say to the city, we'll get you the owner. NHL basically brought Craig Leopold to the table. And while there are people who, have never forgiven Craig Leopold for trying to sell to Jim Balsillie, I'm not one of those people. I'm a big Leopold fan. He lost a lot of money here. I don't blame him for wanting to end it. I wish he hadn't gone Balsillie initially, but whatever. I think that that's what's going to go on here, Kelly, is that MLB is going to say to Nashville, we will find you an owner, and we will find you an owner that will help foot the bill for a future stadium. Because I think that's going to become more of an issue, especially when the Titans get around to telling you exactly what they intend to charge you to buy the PSLs to watch this boring football team.
That's exactly what I was about to say, George, man. It's a hard sell right now to sell all that stuff because they've got to get good. Like, people want a good product out there on the field. And if you're buying tickets, they want to know that their ticket is worth something. And right now, man, like they're not fun to watch at all.
The good news though is that time is on their side. They've
Yeah.
got a couple of years, it would seem to me, before they have to, give us the bad news. And in my opinion, they need to be gearing all their efforts toward getting good when that new stadium opens. They have got so many holes. They've got so many problems. They've got a coaching staff that can't figure out how to protect a punter, for God's sakes. They got a lot of problems, even more than I thought going into the season. And for the first time, I'm open to the conversation of whether Mike Vrabel should even be this team's coach next year. I really wonder. I'm starting to lose faith. But that doesn't have anything to do with the baseball winter meetings. Kelly, what is going on right now is a log jam. Until Ohtani belches out where it is he's going, we're at a standstill, because a lot of the teams that end up losing the Ohtani sweepstakes, and I think it truthfully is probably down to 3 teams: Dodgers, Angels, Toronto. The Braves, hell will freeze over before he's an Atlanta Brave. Liberty Media is not paying that kind of money. So then there's Juan Soto. He becomes the next domino. The Padres want to get their payroll into something more realistic. And they've decided the only way they can do that is to get rid of a great hitter in Juan Soto, who for whatever reason was not as good in San Diego as everybody thought he would be. The Braves, it seems to me, are trying to pry Dylan Cease away from the White Sox. And I think part of what they're trying to do, Dylan Cease, Billy, I bet you didn't know this, is a Georgia native.
I think I did hear that.
Okay. Good.
The Braves, I mean, what does that get? They got about 80% Georgia natives on the Braves.
Nothing wrong with that.
So you think you know something here, George?
What I'm saying is, I feel pretty certain that that's what they're trying to do. But I don't think the White Sox, as of yet, are budging to say, oh, your offer is overwhelming, we're in. I think this last trade that the Braves made with Seattle was more about setting up to try to go get Dylan Cease than it was, Kalenic. Kalenic comes with a lot of, past, promise.
Yeah.
And he may well be really good for them. But I don't think that's why they made the deal.
No, I mean, that doesn't seem like this is not the end of it for the Braves. I mean, I think whether they do make the Cease move or another blockbuster move, they're going to make another move of some sort.
Oh, absolutely. If Snitker said, we're where we need to be, I beg to differ. I love Brian Snitker, but they're a starting pitcher short, and they know it.
Yeah.
George, what is the price per Shohei now? Because we talked about that with Danny. I mean, is it gone down any with him having the elbow surgery? I mean, is that having any factor, or is it just because he's such a great hitter that it really doesn't matter?
Nobody, because I watch a lot of the MLB network coverage, and they've really done our city proud over the last 2 or 3 days. Great shots of downtown. Everybody's got it in the 500 to 600 million range over an 8 to 10 year period. The thing that does seem to be coming out is that Ohtani wants to beat to his own drummer. And wherever he goes, his people are telling teams, this is what he wants. This is how it has to be. And if you're not willing to agree to this, we're not coming here.
Well, and Ohtani and his agent don't want news leaked of meetings with other teams.
They've gone crazy about that.
I mean, so many folks are normalizing this instead of calling it out for what it is. some people hate it. Some people, say, well, he can do what the crap he wants to do. I mean, he's the best player in the world.
Well, what if
Kelly-
somebody's not willing to do that? Like not, willing to succumb to all that and say, just forget it, man. I mean, what happens then?
Well, there are too many that are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Kelly, in my warped mind of how I think in baseball. There are two teams I don't want to see him go to.
The Dodgers.
Actually, three, I guess. The Dodgers, that's an obvious. God forbid he's a Philly. Oh, my God.
Mm.
And I kind of
The
like
Yankees.
the fact that I don't ever hear the Yankees.
The
Yeah.
Yankees.
I'd like to keep them down there where they were a year ago. They deserve to feel how the other half lives.
Well, I don't know if
messed up, George.
you saw this, George, but Dave Roberts came out and said that he met with Shohei Ohtani at Dodger Stadium. That's within the last hour. I just saw
Okay,
this.
now he did not say that in the presentation. Go ahead and show the picture again. Yesterday, Danny Evans and Dave Roberts have been friends for years. And Danny led this big panel discussion yesterday. Obviously, Danny's on the left in that picture. Dave Roberts did not share that.
Yeah, he said that they met with Shohei at Dodger Stadium before the winter meetings, and he said, I think it went well. So,
Given how
George,
go ahead.
wouldn't you think that would be the landing space for him? He wouldn't want to go back to the Angels. I mean, they've already kind of showed where played their hand out. Wouldn't you think he would be going to the Dodgers more than anybody, more than likely?
Kelly, there are a group of people that think that Ohtani is just this robot that has his routine and he doesn't want it messed with.
or does he just have a really good agent that he trusts and just gives everything to the agent and says,
I don't know. I'll say this. Nobody knows, but I am damn certain of one thing. It isn't the Braves.
no, that was a pipe dream.
And MLB Network keeps saying, don't rule out the Braves. Well, I ruled them out years ago on this. I mean, I'll believe this one when I see it.
I'd love to see you with them on the MLB Network set. Well, the Braves are still involved. George, what do you think?
Not no, but hell no. We'll go to the break. Kelly, as you know, we've established a standard of excellence in Plasma Bet of the Day. And it continued last night.
It did. It did.
We'll find a 2-game winning streak when we come back.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Final segment on a Tuesday. What do we got tonight? We got some college hoops tonight. I want to say Tennessee is in action against George Mason, 5:30. Got the Preds tonight as well in Chicago. Big one. Blackhawks are struggling, as Gee said. So a little bit of action tonight. We'll see where George is going. It's time for Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give him a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. Let's check out what happened last night. And the Bengals not only covered, but got a win.
Yeah, one
thanks
outright.
to Trevor Lawrence getting hurt.
Well, there
That
was
was a big
more
part
to
of
it. Yeah, but there was more to it than that. The Bengals had hung tough.
Credit to Browning, too.
Yeah,
he played really good.
Kelly, does he have a long-term future? Does this change the thoughts about him?
He's got to keep doing it. I mean, just like everybody else, you got to. I mean,
just like
professional sports is, yes, the ultimate proving ground. You've got to go out there and produce, and if you produce and you keep doing it, he didn't play good the week before, but he played good last week. And he even said on the press conference afterwards when they were talking to him, just talking about how he finally got a week of practice and he felt better. And he just didn't play good. It takes time when you get out there, even though the first game you might have practiced all, but it still takes time of getting your rhythm with the receivers, getting your rhythm with the O-line. And practice is different than an actual game, but man, he played really well. I mean, that's his second start. I mean, he threw for over 300 yards and he kept them in the game. And that the Boyd kid throwing that interception, that almost doomed him with that play call down there last night. But I thought he played really well, and if he can keep it up, yeah, I mean, he probably don't. He doesn't have a future there if he keeps playing well. But somebody else will give him a shot somewhere else.
Okay, so that was a really good one. Now, don't get me wrong. I never saw the Bengals winning outright.
Me neither.
Tonight's a real gut shot on my end. It's it's game 2 of the Jimmy V Classic, and man, they have got a classic matchup. UConn, the defending national champion, and a lot of people think they're good enough to win it again. Friday night, they were not good enough to go to Kansas and win, but who does? Jayhawks at home at Fog Allen, really tough. This is neutral site, Madison Square Garden. This is just a gut shot that Carolina will view this as sort of a Super Bowl, a measuring stick of where is our program, because these guys are the best.
Well, UConn's going to travel to MSG. Because they always, anytime UConn plays in MSG, they travel. So that might feel like a road game.
It might
for UNC, but that'll be a good one. Also, George, real quick here, I am hearing that Derek Mason is the target at middle. And I don't know how close they are, but I'm hearing from multiple people now that Derek Mason might be the guy.
Wow.
So,
good for him.
Well, I heard he was on campus. I heard he was on campus yesterday. So
Yeah.
don't know. Yep.
Okay. We'll see what happens on all of it. Out of here for today. Who knows what we're going to do tomorrow? But by all means,
we've got a big battle of the Boulevard. So
we do.
Joey Dwyer, who covers Lipscomb, is going to check in the 3:00 preview that game.
Okay, excellent. See all of you tomorrow. Behave until then. Kelly, you in particular, behave.
George, please go home and take that off and hang it back up and not use it for a couple of years.
I hope you're right. See ya.
See ya.